Although physical assaults by demonic agents is comparatively rare, Conway does tell us that it is by no means unknown. However, Conway makes the point of stressing that a physical beating might be more preferable to a psychological assault imposed upon the victim by the demonic force. What he calls the science fiction monster will still be there, but the magician alone will be aware of it inside his mind, causing torment, causing pain that will be so acute that his body will bear no scars. His own hell will be secretive, a private madness that no one else can share or even start to comprehend. While in the Celtic and wider pagan world, the cultural policy of leave well enough alone, or the very most try to make amends with the angry spirit, was replaced in the Christian world as an eternal war between God's people and the feral demons unleashed by the iconoclasts. In many ways, the desire to utilize demons with the revival of witchcraft starting in the Renaissance had more in common with this appeasement and tolerance policy towards non-human entities as it existed in paganism. Eventually, with the Byzantine translation of the Hebrew texts into Greek, Christians would come to see even entire cities and communities as being repositories of these feral demons. From the Cathars to Salem, to the satanic panics of the 1980s, demonic infestation akin to an invasion by an outside force upon the Christian world. Among the volumes of demonology, there exists types of demons whose energetic and daimonic intensity is so powerful that such entities come close to attaining the status of gods, and whose power is so colossal and destructive that even the most daring and experienced magicians, and they most highly proficient in the art, will dare not even attempt to summon them from the abyss. Among these is the timeless, legendary, and terrifying demon known as Choronzon, or Choronzon 333, the lord of cancer, chaos, and cholera. In the Thelema magical practice, he is the guardian of the 10th Aether, which is called Zak, and he is the dweller in the abyss, who waits for the chance to leap into this reality and tear asunder the very souls of they who dare to invoke his name. The term abyss since the Middle Ages has been taken as being akin to some kind of hell, where all manner of horrors and depravity take place. The abyss is also the unseen realm of the demons, and also that of the jinn of the Middle East, the fairies of the Celtic world, elves of the Nordic mythology, and the Penagagalan of the East Asian tradition, and other non-material entities in all different cultures. Every folk and mythological tradition has their own name for these mysterious landscapes beyond the five-sense reality, which we in the West have known as the abyss since the classical era. This bottomless non-reality where all the mysteries and fears of the world lay hidden below. Since the arrival of the Christian era, and in order to discourage notions of nature gods and polytheism, the meaning of the term abyss was changed to that of purely negative and evil connotations. However, this is not the original meaning of the term. In ancient times, the abyss was compared to being the inner reaches of the human mind where untapped powers are uncovered and used by those who are willing and perhaps foolhardy enough to go looking for them. In many ways, the journey into the abyss by a magician or magi is comparable to that of a scientist working with the Hadron Collider looking for the God particle, by constantly going deeper and deeper into the subatomic and quantum field which underlines and begins at the cusp of chaos and order. This is why Choronzon is known as the Lord of Chaos. The demon represents the last gateway leading from the material world into the chaos from which the universe is created. The invocation of Choronzon, or Choronzon 333, represents the absolute expression of magic as being the unification of art and science in accordance with will. And this is a methodology comparable in every way to the work of scientists at locations such as CERN, unlocking the mysteries of the universe and attaining the status of a living God, but only if one can successfully get past the demonic guardians and tricksters of the abyss. Such ideas are universal. For instance, the hungry troll waiting under the bridge in the Scandinavian and Teutonic tradition, an archetypal danger in the guise of a non-human predator which guards the bridge between this world and other states of being. The World Wide Web itself was created by CERN and launched into the public domain on April 30th, 1993, which just happens to be Walpurgis Night, or the Witches' Sabbath as is known in Central Europe. An intriguing date indeed for the launch of the most profound technological invention of the modern era, or perhaps of all time. It was also during this early phase of the World Wide Web that the Chaos Magicians were flourishing as a movement which sought to modernize magical ritual beyond what they saw were the outdated and overly academic approaches of Aleister Crowley's Thelema. One of the founders of Chaos Magic, Peter Carroll, created the ritual known as the Mass of Choronzon, based again on a scientific, in the magical sense, approach of launching one's ego into the abyss in order to achieve more synchronistic generated results of the process rather than achieving a specific objective aim as outlined at the start of the rite. No different than when a particle is launched into the CERN accelerator and the scientists wait to see what may or may not result from this. Choronzon's employment as the guardian of the 10th Aether can be seen in metaphoric terms as the key to unlocking the full potential of human consciousness and thereby unleashing powers such as extrasensory perception and telekinesis, and employing these abilities as on-demand functions when needed. This desire to enter into the unknown and Choronzon-guarded reaches of the abyss alas comes with a great price, be it the great financial cost of the CERN particle collider or the cost of the mind and soul of the magician. This price was clearly paid by Aleister Crowley's disciple and scribe Victor Newberg when the pair successfully brought Choronzon into full manifestation as a shape-shifting monster and seductress during a ritual they performed in the Sahara Desert in 1909. Choronzon was almost certainly the same demon who manipulated and fooled both Edward Kelly and John Dee back in the court of Queen Elizabeth, and which caused Kelly to refer to the demon Choronzon as the mightiest of devils. In some cultures and certain supernatural traditions, demons are deliberately invoked into the body of a medium who has developed the ability, often through witchcraft, to retain the demon for a limited period of time before expelling the demon once the information has been collected and coerced out of the entity. In the Afro-Latin American magical tradition of Santeria, ceremonies are based on the invocation of non-material beings in order to gain information about the future. The effect of observing firsthand one of these entities entering a Santeria practitioner is both terrifying and startling. The entity will speak in obscure African or Portuguese dialects, and even the face of the person invoking the spirit occupying them will change. The demon will often demand large quantities of alcohol or marijuana, yet when the entity leaves the person's body, the Santeria practitioner is completely sober and alert as they were before the ritual began. The impression one is left with is that there are most certainly layers of awareness beyond the normal human consciousness level, and that among these other layers, all manner of other personalities, entities, and even demons can emerge. Anthropologists agree that nearly all cultures have believed in spirits, demons, and other entities which inhabit or affect human life, and the vast majority of societies have also recorded dramatic stories of demonic possession. Often it is hard to make the distinction between what is a devil and what is a demon, and in the case of most demonic possessions, the demon will often refer to itself as the devil or Satan, although there's almost no theological evidence to demonstrate that such an entity or being as the devil actually exists. In these cases, it's almost certain that the demon invokes the name of the devil in order to create something of an egotistical sense of importance to dominate and suppress individuals who are aware that they're dealing with demonic possession. Theologians interpret devils as fallen angels. The name Satan, for instance, means the enemy or the evil one. Lucifer, on the other hand, means the light bearer, and these are known as the kings of the devils or the kings of the demons. The devil and demons are often depicted as being hairy, having horns, having a long reptilian tail, and universally cloven hooves. All of these symbolize the archetypes of wrongdoing and lying in terms of them denoting a fall from grace, and the unconscious forces that influence our psyches and cause us to degrade ourselves and take part in moral wrongdoings and degenerate behavior. In theology, Satan is the enemy of spirituality or spiritual elevation. Symbolically, he represents the dark side of the amphitheina, the reptilian symbol of spiritual death. In the Jewish tradition, demons were divided into 10 hierarchies, the Sephiroth, each personifying a passion or a degrading behavior. The leader of the Sephiroth was Samael, the angel of toxic existence and death. The Shaitan of the Kabbalah seduced the very first woman. His wife was Lilith, the mistress of debauchery and wickedness. She represented the nocturnal power in the Kabbalah, which regards these demons as blind forces of creation, being inferior to men. In more ancient theological approaches, these demons were divine emanations who lived within the blood of human beings, as this blood contained the principle of a vital heat. This is why Moses forbade the consumption of animal blood, believing that it contained demons, and these demons would then transfer themselves into the bloodlines of the Hebrews. Kabbalists also say that Satan's real name is Jehovah, spelt backwards. Carl Jung, on the other hand, claimed that demons are neuroses and complexes, that is to say, liable to provoke permanent disturbance in the psychic life of individuals. Demons are what makes people mistake the shadow for the substance. In these rare cases, are very literally under the control of a demon or a demonic force which has taken stewardship of their cognition and forced the personality of the demon to the fore, akin to something along the lines of an interdimensional entity occupying the body and mind of a human being and using it almost like a spacesuit to enter and take advantage of this reality.